arrive in Oaxaca, the first thing you notice is not just the beauty of its colonial streets or the aroma of food drifting from its markets. What strikes you immediately is the feeling. A living heartbeat that pulses through the city, inviting you to experience not only sights and sounds, but also traditions that stretch back for centuries. Oaxaca is more than a city in southern Mexico. It is a meeting place of cultures, histories, and flavors. Here, life itself is celebrated through festivals, food, and art. And perhaps nowhere else in Mexico does the soul of the country feel so alive. The Festival of Guelaguetza, a living celebration. Our story begins with one of the most dazzling festivals in Mexico, the Guelaguetza. Every July, the city of Oaxaca transforms into a grand stage where culture takes center spotlight. The Guelaguetza is not a single show, but a vibrant gathering of communities from across the state. Each region arrives with its traditional dances, costumes, and music, presenting them proudly before crowds that fill the Guelaguetza auditorium on the hillside. Picture the scene. Dancers twirl in brightly embroidered skirts that flash like a whirl of rainbows. The men stamp their boots in rhythm to the beat of drums and marimbas. Enormous straw hats swing. Colorful ribbons fly through the air, and the atmosphere is electric with energy. Each performance is a story, retelling legends, harvest celebrations, and community rituals that have been passed down for generations. What makes the Guelaguetza so special is the meaning of the word itself. Derived from the Zapotec language, Guelaguetza means mutual help, reciprocity, or offering. This idea of sharing, whether it is food, dance, or support in times of need, defines not only the festival, but also the spirit of Oaxaca. Visitors watching the celebration are not just spectators. They are welcomed into a living tradition that represents solidarity and joy. Monte Albán, echoes of the ancient Zapotecs. In the lively festival, we travel back in time, climbing the hilltop to the ancient city of Monte Albán. For over 1,000 years, this was the capital of the Zapotec civilization, one of the most advanced societies of pre-Columbian Mexico. Walking across the Great Plaza, you see vast terraces, pyramids, and ceremonial platforms that stretch across the mountaintop, all carefully aligned to the movements of the sun and stars. Standing at the edge of the north platform, you look down on the entire Oaxaca Valley, a breathtaking panorama that reminds you why the Zapotecs chose this place for their capital. This city was not only a political and religious center, but also a hub of astronomy, trade, and culture. The carved stelae known as danzantes, depicting human figures with mysterious postures, whisper ancient stories of ritual and conquest. Monte Albán is more than an archaeological site. It is a reminder that Oaxaca's traditions are rooted in civilizations that flourished long before the Spanish arrived. The Zapotecs left behind not ruins, but foundations, cultural and spiritual, that continue to shape Oaxacan identity to this day. The markets, heartbeat of the city. Back in the city, life pulses strongest in the markets. If you want to feel Oaxaca's spirit in its most authentic form, step into the Mercado Benito Juarez or Mercado 20 de Noviembre. These markets are not just places to shop. They are living theaters of everyday life. Here stalls overflow with mountains of chilies in every shade of red, green, and yellow. The smell of freshly ground coffee mingles with the smoky scent of grilled meats. You pass baskets of chapulines, crispy grasshoppers seasoned with chili and lime, while women in traditional dress sell handmade textiles woven with intricate Zapotec patterns. The colors, sounds, and aromas combine into a sensory overload, overwhelming yet irresistible. And then there is the Pasillo de las Carnes Asadas, inside Mercado 20 de Noviembre, a hallway lined with vendors grilling meats over open flames. The smoke rises, the air fills with sizzling aromas, and locals crowd around, choosing their cuts of tasajo or chorizo, which are grilled on the spot and served with fresh tortillas and salsas. Eating here is not just about filling your stomach, it's about sharing an experience that brings together strangers and friends alike. Flavors of Oaxaca, the land of the seven moles. Oaxaca is often called the culinary capital of Mexico, and for good reason. It is known as the land of the seven moles, sauces that are as complex as they are flavorful. Mole Negro, perhaps the most famous, blends roasted chilies, spices, seeds, and even chocolate into a dark, rich sauce that tastes like history itself. Mole Rojo, Amarillo, Verde, and others each have their own unique identity, representing the diversity of Oaxaca's regions. But mole is just the beginning. The streets are alive with vendors preparing tlayudas, often described as Mexican pizzas. These giant tortillas are spread with beans, cheese, lettuce, avocado, and meat, then folded and toasted until crisp. On a warm evening, the sound of tlayudas crackling on charcoal grills is part of the city's soundtrack. And then there are chapulines. To visitors, the idea of eating grasshoppers may seem unusual, but here they are, a beloved snack. Lightly toasted with garlic, lime, and chili, they are crunchy, tangy, and surprisingly addictive. Pair them with a shot of smoky, handcrafted mezcal, and you taste Oaxaca in its purest form. Bold, authentic, unforgettable. Handicrafts, art in every corner. Beyond food, Oaxaca is a land of artisans, where creativity flows as naturally as conversation. Step into a workshop in the nearby villages, and you will see artisans working with patience and skill, crafting objects that carry centuries of tradition. In Teotitlan del Valle, weavers create rugs with dazzling geometric designs, dyed with natural pigments from plants, insects, and minerals. In San Bartolo Coyotepec, black clay is shaped into gleaming Barro Negro pottery, an art form unique to Oaxaca. In another village, artisans carve fantastical wooden creatures called alabrijes, painting them in bright colors and intricate patterns. These crafts are not souvenirs in the commercial sense. They are expressions of identity, ways of keeping alive the heritage of indigenous communities. Each rug, each pot, each alabrije is a piece of culture that has been passed from generation to generation. A city of living culture. As you walk through Oaxaca City, you are constantly reminded of how seamlessly history, art, and daily life blend together. The streets are lined with colonial-era houses painted in warm yellows, blues, and pinks. The Church of Santo Domingo, with its ornate Baroque facade and gilded interior, is a masterpiece of faith and craftsmanship. Next door, the Ethno-Botanical Garden showcases Oaxaca's incredible biodiversity, From towering cacti to delicate medicinal herbs, linking the city's natural and cultural heritage. Everywhere music fills the air. Marimbas echo in plazas, brass bands accompany wedding processions, and children play while vendors sell hot chocolate made from locally grown cacao. The city is alive with sound, movement, and color. Every day, a small festival in itself. Indigenous roots and traditions. What sets Oaxaca apart most of all is the strength of its indigenous cultures. More than a dozen indigenous groups live here, each with its own language, traditions, and celebrations. Their influence is seen not only in festivals like the Guelaguetza, but in everyday life, the way markets are organized, the foods that are cooked, the crafts that are made, and the values of community and reciprocity that guide social life. These traditions are not relics preserved in museums. They are alive, dynamic, and evolving. For Oaxaqueños, culture is not something to display for tourists. It is something to live, to share, and to pass on to the next generation. Nature's touch, from mountains to waterfalls, and then there is nature. Just outside the city lies Hierve el Agua, one of the most extraordinary natural wonders in Mexico. Mineral springs flow down cliffs, leaving behind petrified waterfalls that glisten in the sun. Pools at the top offer views that stretch across valleys and mountains, making it a perfect place to reflect on the beauty of Oaxaca. In the Sierra Norte Mountains, indigenous-run ecotourism projects welcome visitors to hike trails, explore forests, and experience the rhythms of village life. Along the coast, towns like Puerto Escondido and Huatulco offer golden beaches, surfing, and laid-back charm, proving that Oaxaca's beauty is as diverse as its culture. The spirit of Oaxaca. But in the end, what makes Oaxaca unforgettable is not only its landscapes, food, or history, it is its people. Oaxaqueños are known for their warmth, resilience, and pride in their heritage. They welcome visitors with open arms, inviting them to share a meal, dance in a fiesta, or simply sit together in the plaza and watch life unfold. This human connection is what stays with you long after you leave. It is what turns a trip into a memory and a city into a part of your heart. Closing, as our journey ends, we look back on everything Oaxaca has revealed. The dazzling spectacle of the Guelaguetza, the echoes of Monte Albán, the colors and flavors of the markets, the richness of its cuisine, the beauty of its crafts, and the strength of its traditions. Oaxaca is not just a place you visit, it is a place you feel. It is Mexico in its purest form, a city where the past and present, the sacred and the everyday, the festive and the humble, all coexist in harmony. Oaxaca, the place where the soul of Mexico lives on,